Electronic idle speed control on Mercedes 126 and 107 models. If you have a 126 or a 107, and of course your 126 should have a gasoline engine, you are going to need to familiarize yourself with these. The two versions of the idle speed control unit used on those cars. This is the first version idle speed controller, and this one is a 002 545 4032, which would be used on a Euro 500 SEL, SEC, SL. Was never used on the SLC, the 500 SLC, but the 3332, which is a more common version, was used on the 380 SL. I think there was also a 3432 for those cars. Every US market 380 SL, even the very early ones, used this type of idle speed controller from the time the cars were released in the US market until production ended. Any 380 variant, 380 SE, 380 SEL, 380 SEC, used this device. But in Europe, when the first version of the 380 came out in 1980, the earliest versions didn't use it. They really started to become the standard starting in 1981 when they switched over to fully electronic idle speed control. So let's look at the characteristics of this idle speed controller first before we go into this late idle speed controller. This idle speed controller had the more common tendency to fail, but because these idle speed controllers were dependent on an electrical signal from an overvoltage protection relay, even early ones had a little OVP. You must check the OVP first. But these idle speed control units had a more problematic circuit board, and the most common problem is the same one I've talked about with other Mercedes circuit boards, where solder joints crack and the board stops working effectively. So when you get one of these, if your idle is very high or it occasionally surges, goes to idling normal, or you don't get idle speed increase when the engine is cold, time to carefully remove these 5 little clips, not 5, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little clips, and then slide the insert out and carefully with a magnifying glass inspect the board for cracks in the solder joint. Now, I've seen some pretty weird failure patterns with these things. The first weird failure pattern is a surging idle, an idle that just goes voo, 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 up and down, up and down, up and down. Instead of maintaining a nice calm idle speed, as soon as you touch the throttle, it starts to surge and then it finally settles down until you touch it again. Or you're at partial throttle at, let's say, 1,000 RPM, 1,200 RPM, and again, surge up and down, up and down, up and down. And this is, if you have no intake leaks, an idle speed control problem. No matter what you might think, it's not the valve, it's always the controller. The idle speed control units on these cars can do some other weird things as well. The most common other issue is you're sitting there at a traffic light and you're doing 500 RPM and suddenly the idle speed increases to 1,000 RPM or 1,500 RPM and then it goes back down. Again, board issues. And in this case, sometimes a capacitor issue could also be your problem. Sometimes these boards require the knowledge of a specialized electrical repair shop or electrical repair person like Chris at cruisecontrolrepair.com or Beckman Technologies. They used to be very good about repairing these. I don't know if they're still doing it. But sometimes it's not just a matter of broken solder joints. Sometimes there are resistors, capacitors, even little electronic gateways that need to be replaced as well to get the idle speed under control again. Now, let's look at this idle speed controller. This is the late version idle speed controller that was used on 420 and 560 models starting in 1986. Now, everybody who has one of these cars has probably experienced a failure of the overvoltage protection relay, and that is the number one thing that will push the idle speed up and above where it's supposed to be. But occasionally you might get this problem where the idle speed regulation seems to be a little bit too high, where it's like at 1,000 RPMs in your 560 SL or 1,100 RPMs. Now, these sorts of problems were often dealt with by somebody unnecessarily replacing this guy, and today people will try to put a Chinese idle speed control on, idle speed control valve. The Chinese idle speed control valves they sell in Parts Geek and Rock Auto are junk. They do not regulate the idle speed. They are usually much, much higher than they should be. In fact, I've seen people really lose their mind trying to get the idle speed under control once they put one of these things in. From what I've been able to determine, the original VDO valves do not fail. Oftentimes, if you have an original VDO valve, you should start replacing vacuum parts first, especially if they're hard and cooked on your 420 or 560 to get the idle speed down. But you shouldn't throw away the idle air valve. Now, I haven't mentioned much about this idle speed controller. The reason I haven't mentioned anything about the idle speed controller is because it rarely goes bad. These guys are so well made that even broken solder joints are exceptionally rare on them, and I've inspected quite a few of them and come to that conclusion through my personal observation. In other climates, I could be wrong, but blaming the idle control valve, which you can adjust when all is said and done, or the idle speed relay on these later cars, 86 and later cars, is often a waste of time, because usually it has to do with the valve itself going out of adjustment. I think I have a video where I talk about idle speed control valves, and I show you how to adjust the late version valve. Early version valves, unfortunately, are not adjustable, but it's a good idea to clean these things. And if you ever get the inkling to clean them, you can put them in alcohol with inside an ultrasonic cleaner to get them really clean, or at least flush them out with brake parts cleaner. I found a number of idle speed control units will simply drop the RPMs of the car if you tap them a little bit with a wrench or something, indicating that they're dirty. Now, where are these idle speed controllers located? Let's talk about where this one is located. On R107 models, it's it is behind the glove box. You pull the glove box out, and it's right there, screwed to the firewall in a cluster among a cluster of other electrical accessories. So they're a little hard to get to, but that's where they're located. These are a little easier to get to on a 126. They're inside the false firewall, right in the middle, between the ABS controller and between the fuse box. But you'll see them back there just simply bolted up to the firewall with a 10mm nut and a clip on one side. They're very easy to get to. Now, these are a little different. On a 560 SL, which is what we got in the States, or a 420 SL, if that's what you have in Europe, or a 500 SL, again, in Europe, they are under the false firewall on the passenger floorboard. On a US market, sorry, I got that wrong. On a 560 SEL, a 420 SEL, a Euro market 500 SEL, they are under the false firewall on the floorboard. On a 560 SL, 420 SL if you're in Europe, 500 SL if you're in Europe, they are again behind the glove box. And there are three relays like this together: the klima, the fuel pump relay, and this guy, the idle speed controller. And you remove the idle speed controller first, take it out, and then behind it is the fuel pump relay. Next to it is the klima relay, but it's very easy to get to, and often people have to remove them. They don't know what order they go in, but these are the very first ones in there, the easiest ones to remove. Why didn't they put the fuel pump relay there? Why is the fuel pump relay the hardest to remove? I'll never understand some of these little details, but they almost seem to be an afterthought. You know, especially considering the fuel pump relay gets so hot. You know, those things actually do get hot, channeling all that voltage constantly, whereas the idle speed control relay doesn't even have to work that hard. Now, I hope you guys can take something good away from this. If there's anything I want you to take away, it's these do go bad, mostly because of cracked solder joints. These don't. Most of the time, it's an overvoltage protection relay issue, and you need to repair your OVP because you can't get them anymore. It also means that you should probably look at your vacuum hoses, your manifold air distribution hoses, and your boot, your airflow meter boot, instead of blaming the electronic part, because the electronic part is one of the most reliable parts. That's just what we found. It's not like a servo amplifier. It's some really durable stuff, or a cruise control amplifier. They're very durable. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tap the bell for notifications, and I hope you learned something useful that will help you keep your Mercedes running. Thanks.